Hey guys! Extended cinematic universes are all the rage these days, so let's talk about Air Bud spin-offs. Because it's not enough to simply have sequel after god-awful sequel to a mediocre movie about a dog that could shoot hoops, it has to have spin-offs that otherwise have nothing to do with the original. And thus we have The Search for Santa Paws, a prequel to Santa Buddies. Good, I was hoping we'd get a backstory for Santa Claus's dog. We got a lot of bullcrap to cover here, so let's dive right into The Search for Santa Paws. Our movie opens in the incredibly fake-looking North Pole, which is being run by a horrifically scary-looking Santa. Is he wearing somebody else's face? Santa's 1600th birthday celebration is interrupted by the news of the passing of some toy shop owner in New York. And as a parting gift, his estate left Santa this creepy stuffed Newfoundland.
Mr. Hucklebuckle was a great ambassador for the Santa cause.
And what is the Santa cause? A flimsy justification for Santa to know this Hucklebuckle guy, which will never be explored upon again. Screenwriting at its finest! We then cut to the toy shop of the late Mr. Hucklebuckle, where we meet his extended family who has inherited it.
Mr. Hucklebuckle, I presume? I'm Mr. Stewart.
No, you're not. You're the coach from the very first Air Bud movie. This is getting weird.
Mr. Hucklebuckle, I presume?
Actually, it's Huckle.
That's Frankenstein.
He tells them how they need to turn a profit in this shop before it's completely theirs, and because Wifey McNo-Name doesn't have any kids of her own, we then jump to a nearby orphanage that's run by Pearl Forrester.
Wilhelmina! Have you seen Wilhelmina?
I was just thinking about A Hard Knock Life, honest! We're then introduced to Quinn, the latest addition to the orphanage, played by Caitlin Mayer. Remember, the little girl who played Tiny in Santa Buddies? She's playing a human in this movie, and I have no problem telling you that she's this movie's only saving grace. It's up to this older and therefore unadoptable girl named Will to break her into her new surroundings.
Everyone, this is Quinn. Quinn, that's Janie, Meg, Taylor, and Mary. What happened to your parents?
They didn't make it. They had to go to heaven.
Okay. I know I just said that she's the only good thing about this movie, but tell me I'm not the only one terrified by how she said that!
What happened to your parents?
They didn't make it. They had to go to heaven.
And just like in Santa Buddies, the camera dollies away from Quinn in this strange new life to make her seem all the more small and helpless. And then we smash cut to the terribly rendered CGI North Pole to yank us right out of the moment. This movie is just like coming home to an old friend. They once again call upon the confusing plot device that is the Christmas Icicle and use it to bring the plush toy to life. Because an otherwise completely normal dog needed this pointlessly complex origin story. Then we get a montage of Santa bonding with the dog, who he decided to call Paws because he has paws and Santa has absolutely no imagination. And where other movies might show them romping in a field somewhere, or maybe Paws making mischief in the reindeer stalls or something, this movie immediately jumps to the prom preparations. They're going down a dark path I don't want to follow. Sensing that we're already sick of this nonsense, the movie takes us back to Quinn.
Who will kiss my hand when I lie in bed? And who will hold my hand? Who will understand? Who will sing my song to me?
I don't care about how creepy I look right now. I'll do it! Suddenly I can't help but think of her getting adopted by a new foster father, but oh no, he can't sing her song for her like her birth parents did. Then the movie is all about her teaching him how to sing her song for her. I dare you to tell me you wouldn't rather see that movie. Sadly, we don't have that movie to enjoy. Instead, we get not Pearl, who has officially outlawed any semblance of joy for no reason whatsoever.
What are my rules about toys?
Hey, that's mine!
Not anymore!
Please, you can't just...
Watch me!
It's okay, Janie. We'll get it back.
No, we won't. We both know where it's going. It's never coming back.
Where is it going?
I don't know, the furnace? Oh, come on, really? It's not enough to simply make this lady the bad guy because she uses the kids to keep the place spick and span, but they made her so evil that she rounds up the kids' toys just so she could burn them? Well, I guess we know why the buddies aren't in this movie. Apparently she ate them before production began. Back at the North Pole, Santa prepares to leave for Hucklebuckle's toy shop. Why?
Ever since Mr. Hucklebuckle's passing, Christmas spirit has been out of whack in New York.
This movie was made in the year 2010. Nobody says out of whack anymore. And why is Christmas spirit hanging on this one little hole-in-the-wall toy shop? I mean, if we're in New York, and if Christmas spirit has to rely on some kind of toy store, shouldn't it be FAO Schwartz?
I packed your bag,
Oh, thank you.
your suit, hat, gloves, and some of my sugar plum pie. And you seem to have forgotten your North Pole pin. I love you.
My love's implied. So they get to New York and make their way to the toy shop. Bang up job on your disguise, Santa. Long white beard, red suit. No one will ever recognize you in that.
Oh, yeah, you blend.
And since he didn't put Paws on a leash, he gets hit by a taxi after trying to get Paws out of the street.
Oh no! Santa's hurt! Help! Somebody help!
Help, somebody help.
Stop, don't come back.
Paws runs off to get help, leaving Santa to get robbed by some homeless person. And oh noes, Santa can't remember who he is.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me.
We're in a rush.
Excuse me.
You want to ask a question? You're not looking like you especially need anything right now. So Santa spends the night at a bus stop and somehow winds up in Murica. Yeah. And coincidence of coincidences, he just happens to run into the Huckles, who are looking for a Santa of their own to attract business.
So, can you start today?
Start?
You're looking for work, right?
Well, more like a home, really.
I didn't get your name.
My name?
Père Noël. Babo Natali. Père's Nicole.
Papa Gijo. Bud. They call me Bud.
Very pleased to meet you, bud.
We had to tie this into the Air Bud franchise somehow, and there we go. So they hire Bud on the spot because they think he's from some Santa union, and they aren't a little bit curious as to why this supposed store Santa has no idea what his job entails. Brilliant. We then see Will bringing Quinn to the toy store.
You can come in.
I don't got any money to buy toys.
It's okay, we just made up a barter system based on cuteness. Get in here, you!
And who do we have here?
This is Quinn.
You know, if something happens to Santa so that he loses his memory, that's fine. But as long as he still has his magical powers, he should have instinctively known who Quinn is. Santa, we have our first visitor of the day. Why, if it isn't little Quinn! So good of you to see me! She asks Santa for a few things for her fellow orphans instead of herself. My god, she's precious! And then Paws, who I guess has managed to avoid being taken home by who knows how many random passers-by, bumps into a couple of stereotypes.
Who invited you to the party?
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Paws from the North Pole.
Yeah, man, and that'd be the Tooth Fairy.
You racist bastard.
Then they get caught by the dog catcher, while Paws is able to avoid being caught himself. Then he uses his little icicle shard around his neck to free them. You know, maybe it would be nice to see Santa teaching Paws how to use his magic in that montage instead of just showing him interfering with the toy production. Just a thought. Meanwhile, in Central Park, Little John Denver comes across Santa's reindeer, who have managed to avoid being found by everyone else in the park somehow. They ask him if he can look for Santa for them, since he should have been back by now.
But if you're Santa's reindeer, why can't you just fly back to the North Pole for help?
We can't fly without the Christmas magic in Santa's crystal.
Bullcrap! How many movies have we seen where the reindeer are perfectly capable of flying on solo missions without Santa? And, if they don't have the magic to fly, why would they have the magic to talk?
But there must be 1,000 Santas in New York.
But there's only one real Santa Claus. You'll know him when you find him.
No, he'll probably say something along the lines of, "Oh my god, you killed Santa and stole his face!" Incidentally, one of the first Santas he comes across is the hobo who stole Santa's bag, who has been turning a little charitable profit for himself.
Are you the one and only?
Sure, kid, you put money in that bag and I'll pretend to be anyone you want me to be.
Okay, I need you to pretend like you're a statue and stay absolutely still while I go off and call the cops. Later that night, Paws is still wandering around aimlessly for Santa when he comes across the orphanage.
Help! Help! Has anybody seen Santa? Help! Santa, where are you? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, apparently anyone who believes in Santa can hear you. So if any of you can't understand animals, I guess that means you just don't believe in Santa hard enough. Of course, Paws and Quinn fall for each other, and she takes him inside.
This place could use some Christmas cheer. Paws!
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow!
Oh, wait, you were saying the dog's name, weren't you? Sorry.
Oh, wow!
Suddenly I can't help but imagine a future where Will here is the director of the orphanage, and she's every bit as nasty as Miss Stout, but worse. She doesn't make the orphans sleep in the basement when they misbehave. She chops them up and puts them through the meat grinder. Meanwhile, back at the toy shop, Santa is pushing their new charity promotion, which says that for every $100 worth of toys that they buy, they'll donate one more toy to children in need. Of course, since it's Santa Claus pushing this promotion, the store is ranking in all kinds of business, so much so that they eventually get the attention of the local news. Nice pin there, Santa. Are you part of Starfleet? And I'm sorry I can't get over this, but my god, is this Santa ugly! I knocked on the Santa from Santa Buddies for being unenthusiastic and low-key, but at least you could stand to look at the guy. He's old, he's hairy, he looks like he could probably stand a bath, but he was never this hard on the eyes. Hell, Tim Burton's Santa Claus is more appealing than this.
With hundreds of toy store Santas all across New York City, what makes you so special?
Nothing, really. I'm just an ambassador for the Santa cause. One of many spreading the Christmas spirit to children around the world, reminding them of what's important.
A little humble pie, how refreshing.
Well, actually, my favorite is sugar plum pie.
Oh my god, that pun was terrible. Did I really just say that on TV?
It was another big day today, Bud. Oh, you must have seen 200 children.
Yeah, but you really seem like you enjoy listening to the children.
I do. Someone once told me that the spirit of Christmas is embodied in the hearts of children, untouched as yet by the fears, doubts, and disappointments of the adult world.
Nobody should ever use the words fear, untouched, or adult world when talking about children. Santa goes up to bed, and apparently his room is right next to the basketballs. And he's been using the name Bud while he's here. Symbolism! Meanwhile, back in movie number 2C, Quinn takes Paws to the toy shop to see Santa, but because Santa's feeling a little under the weather, Icicle takes his place with less than stellar results. And why is Santa feeling sick when a man who's 1,600 years old has apparently been able to stave off any and all kinds of ailments? Because that hobo from before stole his magical Christmas icicle too. I'm sorry, but this movie really dropped the ball on this whole Christmas magic thing. Let's take a look at what's been happening. Santa Claus visits some pissant little toy shop on the verge of bankruptcy, and even without his knowledge of being the real Santa, he's able to attract hordes of new customers, and he's encouraging them to buy as many toys as possible so that more toys can be donated to charity. But he's getting sick because he doesn't have his little Christmas spirit battery. Hello! He's been feeding Christmas spirit to everyone who comes into the store! The movie is supposed to be about Christmas spirit being alive within our hearts. But no! Apparently Christmas magic can only happen with some stupid icicle. It wasn't global warming that killed Christmas, it was this movie's stupidity. Speaking of stupidity, Mrs. Claus sends Eli and Eddie the elf dog out to find Santa.
Let's melt snow.
Okay, I'm sure that's just the North Pole equivalent of let's burn rubber, but tell me that didn't sound like a pee joke. As was established in Santa Buddies, the elves have the ability to make their mail trucks look like whatever kind of vehicle they want. With this in mind, why can't they make themselves look less elf-like? Sorry, but a little person running around looking for Santa is gonna turn some heads. Little Johnny Denver eventually comes across the Santa he's been looking for.
Comet asked me to find the real Santa and give him a message.
Your reindeer were waiting for you in Central Park.
Santa, sir, that's the message. I hope you're the real deal.
Jimmy, I don't know if I'm the real Santa Claus or not. But here's a pin to thank you for your persistence.
A Santa Claus in a Disney movie is giving away pins, but we don't have any Santa Clauses giving away pins at Disneyland? Holy missed opportunity, Batman. Quinn takes Paws back to the orphanage since they didn't find the Santa they were looking for, and it suddenly occurs to me. Why is this movie even called The Search for Santa Paws in the first place? It's Santa Claus that we're looking for here. Santa Paws is right there. Search over. The other orphans start singing a song of their own, and I know we've had a couple of other songs in this movie so far, but why does this sound so out of nowhere?
There's gonna be peace and hope and love and wonderful memories. There'll be laughter, there'll be song. We'll go caroling all night long.
Believing in Christmas makes it magic, can't you see?
And what is this movie trying to rip off exactly? Miracle on 34th Street? The Rescuers? Annie? The Little Princess? Pick a genre and stick with it! And for God's sakes, was there nothing that they could do to make this dog look the slightest bit enthusiastic about what's going on around him? Hooray, Christmas magic. I guess. Miss Stout comes in and puts an end to the festivities, and she takes Paws' crystal away from him.
That's a pretty gem.
No, don't! Not my crystal!
Did you just forget that you have the powers of a god? Rain some Christmassy vengeance on her ass!
And the rest of you, clean up this mess and take off those ridiculous dresses, now!
Hey, maybe I should question where you got these dresses and decorations in the first place. Nah. She tosses Will and Paws into the basement as punishment for being happy, and Santa has a stroke from the lack of Christmas cheer. The next day, Eli and Eddie track down Santa's missing suit.
Augustus. Hello. I'm Eli, Santa's head elf, and this is Eddie.
What are you guys? From the North Pole?
Yes, we are.
You just talked, didn't you?
Meaning that the cynical booze hound still believes in Christmas magic?
That's Santa's crystal.
That explains the beard.
Does it have to explain the beard? Why couldn't this hobo already have a beard? Not all homeless people have access to razors. Why is everything about that damn crystal?
Without Santa's magic crystal, he could become mortal. And eventually...
We've got to find him before it's too late. Do you know where he is?
Oh, no. But look, I do know where there's some reindeer. Come on, I'll show you.
The reindeer which are also losing their Christmas magic and shouldn't be able to talk, right?
Eli? Eddie, is that you?
Ugh.
We need you all to stand by the sleigh, ready to fly at a moment's notice.
I'm afraid we're all too weak. We need something to eat.
You're in a park! You're surrounded by food! Go nuts! And I'm sorry, but if there's no Christmas magic to keep Santa Claus alive, why would there be enough Christmas magic to make the reindeer fly?
We need to find eggnog, gingerbread cookies, fruitcake, things like that.
I know a place. I'll go get the food.
You want to make the reindeer diabetic? We cut back to the orphanage, where Paws is turned into a plush toy again since his crystal was taken away, and he gets tossed into the incinerator. And I don't know why I'm supposed to care. What's stopping these girls from getting a new stuffed dog from any given toy store and putting the crystal around its neck? Wouldn't Paws be as good as new? It's like Frosty the Snowman melting. So long as his hat is okay, what's the problem? Build a new snowman, put the hat on him, and happy birthday! Everything's fine! Hell, what would happen if they put that crystal on a real dog like me? Wait. Quinn saves Paws from being burned shortly after Eli tracks him down to the orphanage.
Get out.
There's still life force in him.
How? Did Mr. Hucklebuckle somehow imbue this thing with life force before he gave it to Santa? Why didn't Santa immediately bring this thing to life if it already had some semblance of life inside it? And to think all this horse hockey came from a cute, harmless story about a dog who could play basketball. They just had to Alpha and Omega this bitch. While that's going on, little Johnny Denver bumps into Hobo Claus. Comet recognizes the pin that was given to him. Then they wait until nightfall to tell the others where Santa is. And why were they just hanging around the orphanage all day? With time being of the essence, why didn't they meet back at Central Park as soon as Paws was revived? They try to look for Santa at the toy shop, but the Huckles tell them that he's at the hospital.
We have to find a way of getting Santa out of the hospital and back to the North Pole.
Why? If putting Paws' crystal around his neck is enough to bring him to life, wouldn't doing the same for Santa make him feel better? And why is Eli constantly going on assignments with a dog? It's been established that not everyone believes in Christmas spirit, so not everyone is going to be able to hear the dog explaining what's going on and what they're doing here. Why doesn't Eli go with another elf to help him out? Back at the orphanage, someone finally does the sensible thing and tells the authorities about Miss Stout's managerial practices.
And it appears two of the girls, Will and Quinn, are missing.
Yes. Right. We were looking for them.
You are no longer permitted in this house by order of the state of New York. And furthermore, if anything has happened to those children, you will be held accountable.
But I love those little brats! You can't do this to me!
I just did.
We jump back to our heroes making their way to the hospital in an ambulance from the 1950s? Nice move, Eli. You can make your car look like anything you want it to, but it's just too bad you have no idea what modern ambulances look like. And why is the dog dressed like a candy striper? I don't think the dog needs to be working undercover. They spring Santa and get him back to the toy shop, but his crystal doesn't seem to be working.
Is Santa going to die? He has to make it.
Eli, take my crystal off and place it next to Santa's.
What?
Take my crystal off and place it next to Santa's.
What? They give Paws his crystal back and he's perfectly fine, but they give Santa his crystal back and he's still all sick like that? What, did Santa decide to give Paws more Christmas magic or something? Why would he do that? And how the hell does Paws come up with this idea? Shouldn't it be Eli to think about this, since he's so knowledgeable about the ins and outs of magic? My god, this is stupid!
If you do that, we might not be able to bring you back a second time.
And you may become a stuffed toy forever.
Wow. That's actually quite the moral conundrum. I mean, do you think any of you could choose between your dog or Santa Claus? Pick Santa Claus, you morons! So they do put Paws' crystal next to Santa's, but instead of having it make sense and revive Santa instantaneously like it did with Paws, they have to drag it out for all they can to make it dramatic because dramatic. Santa eventually wakes up, but Paws is now a stuffed toy again.
Santa Claus!
Look at Santa. Come on, Santa.
We have to get back to the North Pole at once. Only the great Christmas icicle can save Paws now.
Why? Why are these movies so insistent that Christmas is some icicle? Why does Christmas have to be some icicle? Christmas is supposed to be about spreading love to your fellow man and trying to hang on to that love all throughout the year. Why would an icicle want to spread that sentiment? What does it get out of trying to spread that sentiment? How is it supposed to spread Christmas cheer from a vantage point where nobody can interact with it? Ugh, the sleigh conveniently arrives to take Santa to the North Pole. Why not take the car that can jump through time and space? But when they finally get there, shock of all shocks, the icicle has no effect. Maybe because it's just an icicle and shouldn't have any magical properties!
I was afraid of this. With Christmas coming so soon, the icicle just doesn't have enough magic to spare.
Bullshit! You single-handedly sold the idea of Santa Claus, and ergo Christmas magic, to millions of people. Because you were spreading all this Christmas magic, you were able to bring a Merry Christmas to who knows how many orphans who otherwise have nothing to look forward to in life. Christmas magic exists because you perpetuated it in people's hearts. And that's where Christmas magic comes from, and that's what every other Christmas special says about where Christmas magic comes from. Christmas magic comes from the heart. We enjoy the presents and the food and the decorations and all that, but that's not what Christmas is. Christmas comes from the heart. Not an icicle! Tell me if you can't spot this cliche coming from a mile away. Santa sheds a single tear over Paws not coming back to life, and then he comes back to life. Because dead pets always come back to life when you cry about them, don't they?
But how?
It was your love for each other and Christmas magic.
It was his love that got him here in the first place! What, did the Christmas magic need to feed off of Santa Claus's sadness before it could be effective? That's not the magic of Christmas at work, that's the magic of sadism!
Santa, what happened to me?
You turned into Justin Timberlake! No, seriously, what did happen to him? He comes to life from a Santa tear, and he's all grown up? I guess Santa's tears are radioactive. So the Huckles adopt Will and Quinn, Hobo Claus donates the money he raised to the orphanage, those stereotype dogs get enslaved by the elves to do their bidding, but they're wearing silly outfits, so I guess that's okay. And Santa begins his Christmas Eve run by going back to New York. It'd make a lot more sense for Santa to begin his rounds in Canada and then work his way further south, but hey, I only moonlight as a pizza guy. What do I know about delivering goods?
Paws, is that you?
It's me, kids. The Great Christmas Icicle brought me back. I'm Santa Paws now.
It's good to see you all together.
Thank you so much, Santa. You changed our lives, really.
And you mine. Isn't it amazing what can happen when we spread love and kindness?
Oh, is that what was going on? Silly me. I thought we were supposed to get down on our knees and worship the almighty Icicle! So they wish them a Merry Christmas, head back to the North Pole without visiting anyone else, and the movie ends with the Huckles deciding that they're going to keep the toy shop.
So how did we do with the stipulation?
Well, sir, we had a few unexpected expenditures, but as you can see, Hucklebuckle Toys made a profit of exactly 1 cent.
Well, then the store is officially yours. You're free to sell it, return to Los Angeles, to your lucrative accounting practice.
We've decided we're not going to close down the store.
Yeah, you can't go back to your old job in accounting since you clearly have no idea what you're doing. You sell thousands of dollars worth of toys, and you make a profit of only 1 cent? What were you donating to charity? Xbox Ones? Oh, who cares? The movie's over. And thank God for that, because this was terrible! This has to be the worst Buddies movie I've yet to encounter. Which is weird because the Buddies aren't even in it. As I said, Caitlin Mayer is the only reason to see this movie, but her involvement isn't enough to save this piece of crap. The story is nothing but a collection of cliches, Santa is hideous, the rules of magic don't make a lick of sense, the villain doesn't have any motivation or chance at redemption, and the whole idea of Christmas being distilled to a chunk of frozen water is downright insulting to the holiday. It's easy to get lost in the stress and the materialism and everything else, but we need to remember that this is a holiday that's so powerful it has the ability to stop wars, if only for a short while. Christmas is a holiday that deserves better than this, and having come from a studio which has produced so many other movies that did do it justice, this movie should be ashamed of itself. And while this sequel-prequel remains virtually unknown, be sure to tune in next week for my 200th review, when we'll be talking about something which sadly will never, ever go away. See you later.
Who will kiss my hand when I lie in bed? And who will hold my hand? Who will understand? Who will sing my song to me? the dark of night.